After years of build-up, anticipation, and emotional weight tied to Glenn and Maggie's legacy, The Walking Dead, Dead City has seemingly taken a sharp left turn with Herschel Ree, and fans are not having it. Once the symbol of hope and survival, the son of one of the franchise's most beloved couples is now being written in a way that feels unrecognizable, overly angsty, and, to many longtime viewers, deeply frustrating. Herschel's character evolution in Dead City Season 2 has been a point of contention, but recent developments have pushed that frustration into full-blown backlash. Initially introduced as a quiet and grieving teen, viewers were sympathetic. Understandably, the child of Glenn, who was brutally killed by Negan, and Maggie, who's carried years of trauma, would be shaped by tragedy. But where the show could have created a nuanced, conflicted young man, it has instead opted for a trope-heavy, rebellious teen arc that feels lazy and out of place. In the most recent episode, Herschel lashes out at Maggie in a way that felt not only harsh, but wildly disconnected from their established bond. Viewers watched Maggie fight tooth and nail through the zombie apocalypse to keep Herschel alive. Now, he accuses her of choosing revenge over him and even goes as far as aligning himself with people who once endangered them. His bitterness seems less about character development and more about forced drama. The writers appear to be setting Herschel up as a foil to Maggie, but it's not landing well. Instead of a layered tension based on generational trauma, fans are getting a caricature of a moody teenager who resents everything without a compelling reason. Twitter and Reddit threads have exploded with fans saying they feel betrayed by the character's portrayal. Many note that if this was the only legacy Glenn left behind, it feels like a disservice to the memory of a character who embodied loyalty, strength, and compassion. One particularly damning moment came when Herschel questioned whether Glenn's death even mattered, calling it ancient history. The line struck a nerve with audiences who still rank Glenn's death among the most emotional moments in television history. For a generation of fans, Glenn's sacrifice was foundational to their love of The Walking Dead. To have it dismissed so flippantly by his own son was too much for many. The issue isn't just Herschel's attitude, it's how the show is failing to give weight to his pain. Rather than exploring his trauma with care, the writing seems to be leaning on edgy dialogue and erratic behavior to create conflict. The show missed a powerful opportunity to examine what it means to be the child of trauma survivors in a post-apocalyptic world. What could have been a profound look at inherited grief and resilience has been reduced to shouting matches and teenage tantrums. Some fans have pointed out that the writers may be deliberately setting Herschel up for a redemption arc. But at what cost? Unlike characters like Carl, whose growth felt natural and earned, Herschel's development feels forced and undeserved. If redemption is coming, it needs to be carefully written because at this point, the audience's patience is wearing thin. Adding to the tension is the growing distance between Maggie and her son. For viewers who rooted for Maggie through heartbreak and loss, watching her be vilified by her own child feels cruel. It's not that fans expect a perfect relationship, but the lack of emotional nuance is glaring. Maggie is a character who has sacrificed everything, and continues to, for her son. The current storyline makes it seem like none of that matters, reducing her motivations to selfishness and obsession. What's especially frustrating is how out of sync Herschel feels with the tone of the rest of the show. Dead City has done a solid job of exploring complex moral territory, especially with the uneasy alliance between Maggie and Negan. But instead of weaving Herschel into those shades of gray, the show has painted him in bold, frustrating strokes. He's angry, dismissive, and at times borderline cruel, without the emotional grounding to make it believable. There's still time to turn things around. Herschel's character could evolve into someone who honors both his parents' legacies. He could come to understand Maggie's choices, reckon with Glenn's death in a meaningful way, and become a leader in his own right. But if the current writing continues, he risks becoming another example of a promising character squandered for cheap drama. In a universe where character arcs matter deeply and emotional connections are what keep fans coming back, the treatment of Herschel Ree is a misstep the show can't afford to prolong. The legacy of Glenn and Maggie deserved better. And so do the viewers who stuck with The Walking Dead through every loss, every twist, and every battle.